Hello, I'm Steve Maskery and welcome to Workshop Essentials. The two leg end rails of my bench are going to be bolted to the long rails. And I'm using this, it's 200 millimeters by 12 millimeters, that's 8 inches by half an inch in old money. And that means that I need a hole in the end of my rails for this to go into, and then there'll be a nut set in and tighten it up. It works very, very well. I've done this on beds, I've done it on this bench, it works great. But drilling a hole into end grain is not an easy thing to achieve accurately. If you've got a horizontal borer, yeah, no problem, but I haven't. And I haven't got such great hand-eye coordination that I can guarantee getting my drill that straight for that far. So I'm not going to drill the hole, I'm going to route it out. I'm going to route a groove that goes just below halfway, and then I'll put a piece of wood on top to leave me with a square hole slap bang in the middle of the thickness of my rail. So I have set up a stop 185 millimeters away from the end here, so that when my router hits it, I know that I've routed far enough. I've set a depth stop for 28 millimeters, and I've got two fences on my router, the one that came with it and a homemade one over here. And that means it's not going to move sideways in either direction. So we need some air. We need some air there. And we need some eyes and ears. That's it. Bang on, yay! So just got to do that on all the others now. I want a good rebate all the way around my slot, so that I've got a good surface area to glue the patch in. So I've reduced the depth of cut to 15 millimeters, and I've adjusted my two fences so that there is some sideways play now. It doesn't grip it by the edges. So when this fence is in contact with the back, I can't overshoot in that direction. And when this fence is in contact with the side, I can't overshoot in this direction. So I think we're ready to go. Ears. Very nice indeed. Very nice indeed. So now I can put a patch in there. That will leave me with a hole, and then I'll create an access hole for the nut. I'm gluing in a patch to finish the hole off. And I'm making sure that the patch is very slightly thicker than the depth of the rebate that it's filling. And that way I can clean it off with a plane, nice and flush once the glue's dry. Now for some reason I've put on quite a lot of glue. There we go. There we go. The last job with these rails is to route a cavity for the nut, like this one. Now you might think that's a bit big for a nut, Steve, but I want to be able to get my fingers in there, and you've got to get a spanner in there and be able to manipulate it. The depth is got to be at least half the diameter of the washer beyond the centre. So that leaves me a wall that's about 1/4 of an inch thick at the back, thereabouts. So that's what we're aiming for, and I'm doing it with the same router bit, but instead of the fences I've installed a 30mm guide bush, and I've got a template with a hole in it, and the hole in the template is 17mm bigger than the hole that I want to end up with. And that's because the difference between the diameter of the router cutter and the diameter of the bush is 17mm. Right, so we need some eyes and ears, and we're ready to go. Need to suck that out because my dust extractor isn't working very well. Needs a bit more. That's better. To stop the rail from twisting, I'm using a couple of dominoes. This is not for strength, it is purely for location. I need to relieve the middle of the end, just by 1 millimetre or 2. This gives me 3 points of contact in the joints, where each domino is and the head of the bolt. It means I can tighten it up to make a very strong bolted joint. I've modified the same jig that I used for routing the pockets to make it a bit bigger, and then use one edge of it to cut the relief. My longest router cutter is just a few millimetres too short to go right through, so I go as far as I can with that, and then turn it over and finish the job with a little flush trim bit. Then it's over to the drill press to make some holes. And with a couple of dominoes in, it looks like this. After which it is all ready to be bolted together. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. It really makes a difference. Next time I'll be fitting this rather substantial apron. So join me here then. Until then, enjoy your workshop. Cheerio!